I really wanted to have a more perpetual workflow with this, but somehow these last weeks I just didn't manage. I was just not in good habits overall. And this might not change in the next weeks, but you better trust me that it's going to change in the next month because I am really I am really tired of doing everything at the same time and moving around so much. Therefore, I'm manifesting out loud that this will change soon. And this will change soon anyway because I decided that I would be moving to Berlin and try to base myself there for a few months. I'll try to document or maybe perhaps share a little bit what I intend to do there. But the long story short is that for the practices and the project that I do, I just came to realize that a lot of my collaborators, friends, and inspirations were also living there. And so I thought, well, okay, sure, I could go anywhere. And Berlin is definitely one of the most competitive and gentrified city in the world. But I believe that I can make something out of it. So I hope the city won't be too harsh on me. I hope it will give me the energy that I need to go through these sort of big life questions that I need to work through these next months, which are, I would say, quite basic, but very existential nevertheless, which are figure out where my base is, which are finding out how I make a little bit more stable money. Because I want to talk a little bit about that at some point as well, like sustaining yourself as like a writer, artist slash thinker. I used to have it pretty good, but now I don't have it so good anymore. So I need to figure out my finances and the way I just organize myself around finances again. And so Berlin and this move, sorry, my hair, what's going on? Okay, so this move to Berlin and this sort of layering of important questions, do I base myself there? What kind of work do I do? Do I find the community I'm searching for? Blah, 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 which are just adult questions to solve, right? Are going to be the one that I will be trying to focus on a little bit on in the next month. And I mean, I'm not saying that this is gonna impact the delivery slash the work I do, but it's definitely gonna take a lot of space. And therefore I need to also think for myself how I want to steer, share, research and ideas, etc. in the meantime. But that is just admins. I think today I want to talk a little bit about energy transfer in periods of transition. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because I have just displayed I'm in this kind of transitional moment where I need to resolve a lot of those questions. And I have this theory, right, that you can only share a certain kind of energy with the questions you have to solve, right? Like if you try to solve too many conversations slash questions at the same time, you might end up pouring so little water in each glass that you might not feel content with what's actually coming out of it. And given that I'm in this period right now where I need to figure out quite existential pillars of my life, I've been really trying to think about how to best keep my energy for myself, best nurture that energy for myself, and also just put it in the best sort of like situation. And that might sound very like strategic, but I would say it's actually quite much more of a spiritual approach to this that I'm trying to work with here. And I'm specifically thinking about this because I have spent a good amount of my 20s, I wouldn't say focusing on all of these questions plus romance, because I would say that some of those questions were, let's say, solved by circumstances, right? Like sometimes I had to study somewhere or be enrolled somewhere or work somewhere. So the base question was solved. And then I had more money and I was freelancing very good. And then the money question was solved. And then I had more spare time to focus on fiction and research and love, right? And sometimes the things were like weirdly intertwined also. And now I'm just so, let's say, I wouldn't say anxious, but I would say I need to be so specific about those fundamental pillar of base, money, and, well, mental health, whatever, that I fear I don't know where fiction and love could work in that. And I want to talk more in the future about my personal perception of fiction and love. For me, fiction and romance are the same thing, which is actually quite toxic, but I want to expand on that on another day, another moment. But I'm explaining all of this to say that I've been considering, and who cares, but I still want to say it today. I've been considering celibacy for a while. And I'm a little bit scared of what that means, not because I'm scared of being alone, but romance and date-like situation and encounters with stranger, no matter their nature, like it doesn't have to be sexual, is such an inspirative juice for me. I find it very inspiring for character development. I find it very inspiring for finding out some stories that I couldn't have thought about myself. I find it very interesting for story building. Like, romance is just so nourishing to me in general, not only for the idea of receiving love, but just for the storytelling aspect of romance, right? So the idea of giving that up for a while I have to deal with my own questions first is it's a little bit haunting, but it's also quite exciting. I don't know how much I will want to share on that, because I think this is a very personal / spiritual quest, and I don't even know. I guess I'll see if I have amazing outcomes and realization during the process. I'll probably share it. I also don't really know yet whether I will act upon it. I will say I will not act upon romance because it's very difficult for me. I just love good stories, and sometimes it's costing me so much more than just a good plot. It's costing me so much more. But I just, the writer and the storyteller in me just cannot refuse a good story coming my way. And the story might not even be that good, but like if I just tend to perceive it as something that's worth. And I want to be so much more specific. And once again, it's not because I hate romance, hate love. I just really think about this energy transfer at the moment, and I really think about all these important questions that one might need to solve in some periods of their life. And I think there's only so much water you can give away from your own glass. And if you pour so much of that into, a good story and romance, well, it's great. But I've done that so much already. And it's not that it hasn't taken me anywhere. It has taken me far, and way too far. But now I just feel like I really need to better understand the basic pillars of my life, because otherwise I'm afraid nothing that will be built on top of this will be stable enough. I'm talking, spiritually, economically, etc. So yeah, and since I've been thinking about those kind of things, of course, my algorithm has been showering me with testimonies of celibacy and abstinence, which actually sound quite great. Like, they sound very holy, all of them. Yeah. I think I would find it personally interesting also for me too, as someone who finds a lot of inspiration in romance and in love, to actually see what does abstinence do to storytelling. Oh, I mean, it's becoming your sense of story, I guess. I don't know. That sounds kind of interesting though. I just really, okay. funny thing to share here is that I was sharing this with my grandma around my birthday time, and I said I would like to find a ring that could be a reminder of that idea in me / this promise for myself. And unfortunately, my grandma's sisters died recently, and she left her quite some rings. And we found out that there was this ring that was left. And I was like, holy dear, this is a snake. This is the snake from the Bible. This is the snake related to Adam and Eve. This is the temptation. And there I was, creating, some kind of nonsense prophecy for myself with this ring. Anyway, I'm wearing at the moment. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I would like to document a little bit more ideas, stories, thoughts that I'm thinking about next month. I'll promise myself to do that more consistently once I'm finally set in Berlin, which will be in a few weeks. In the meantime, I wish everyone a great Cancer season, and I hope you have enough water in your glass to spread and share with others and with yourself.